here. Cool. Okay, so hey, there's Santos Bonacci.
Hi.
So that's Santos. He's in Mexico. He was in Australia. He was in Australia like probably a couple years ago, right, Santos? You just came to Mexico. Cool. So he'll explain more about that. So anyway, I've been following Santos Bonacci for 13 years, and he has like over 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. He speaks 8 different languages. I'll let him explain even more, but I just one of those people that I admire. Like I love listening to his lectures and just esoteric truth. Where did we come from? Where are we going? It's all written in the stars, and he'll explain more. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, Santos. I'm gonna put you on volume here. Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, good. So
fire away.
Yep, I can hear you. So you can introduce yourself, and I'm going to share the video, and then we'll just go into your teachings. Do you want me to share the video first?
Yep.
Okay, so let me share the video. Here I go.
So, is it slide to the top, isn't it? Yeah. Blue, it's good.
Yeah, there's probably belly.
Come on in. Everyone, quickly take a seat because we're starting. Yeah. Okay, Kelly is just grabbing ice and she'll be right here, and then we're gonna click play. Hey everyone. Just to stall time actually. So you guys know me, and this is pause obviously for anyone who's not been here before. We do have kava, kratom, essential oils, and just natural medicines and stuff. If you guys could put yourselves on mute if you're not on mute already, so we can hear everyone. I'm gonna put you on mute.
Oh, there she is.
I'm gonna put you guys on mute. If I merge chat. Yeah, he's gotta go soon, so we have to start now.
Okay, so I don't know if this is that or somebody just told me.
I don't know.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, so if you guys can just put yourselves on mute, because I don't see, has anyone ever used Zoom before? I've used it. For some reason, I can't seem to put them on mute. Well, I want to make sure there's no background noise, so replace.
They can put their own self on mute. They can put their self on mute, Rodney.
I know they can. So if you guys could put yourselves on mute, that would be great, because for some reason I'm not able to do it. But anyway, so let's get started. I'm going to share the screen. And here we go.
The most important part of astrotheology and syncretism, which is what I'm doing, syncretism shows how everything, all the theologies, the philosophies, the religions, the sciences, they are all one. And the people from the Renaissance were doing this, Marsilio Ficino, Giovanni Pico della Mirandola, Giordano Bruno, all these guys. You see, what you find when you look at the ancient texts, you find that the theme is exactly the same. And especially to the ones who have insight, the exoteric knowers, rather than the exoteric believers. You see, they've been kept in the dark, in the lurch. But the secret of secrets is the grand arcanum, which is hiding in these texts. It's the magnum opus that the philosopher has been looking for, the elixir of life, etc. It all has to do with the microcosm. Of course, what else could it be? In the Bible is the story of the microcosm of the man and how man was created. It's a literary masterpiece. But in the Bible, there is only one story, and that is the story of the creation of man and how man is the temple of what they call God, or the temple of Solomon. Solomon's temple was not built with hammer or saw, or the sound of hammer or saw. The temple is the body, you see, and this is how it works. This is how the temple is built. It's built on the principle of 12, because the universe is built on 12. Everything the universe does, it does through the number 12. 12 is the completeness of its cycles, you see. The human body must correspond to the universe because man is the measure of the universe. The ancients knew that there was a circle in the sky, and that circle was traversed by the 7 wanderers, the sun and the moon, the 2 luminaries, and the 5 visible planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And these 7 regulated that path in the sky that they blazed called the ecliptic. The ecliptic is the extension of the equator of the Earth. And they got that line of 360 degrees and they segmented it into 30 degrees because they knew that that's how the universe gets things done. It does things in 12s. And we have to understand numerology and the power of the numbers. What does 1 mean? What does 2 mean? What does 3 mean? Now, I'll get back to that. But what they did, the ancients, is they knew that this Temple of Solomon was made of 12 parts, and the parts are these. Aries, the ram, is at the top of the head. Everything starts with Aries in this great science, the great science of astrology. Aries is the first, the number 1. Then there's Taurus, number 2. And those 2 houses or signs of the zodiac are in the head. Aries is at the top of the head and it corresponds with the cerebrum, and Taurus is at the bottom of the head and the neck and it corresponds with the cerebellum. So you have the higher mind or the higher brain, and you have the lower mind or the lower brain. Now we'll get back to the meanings of those words, cerebrum and cerebellum, because hiding in those 2 words is the word Israel. Israel is in your head and it consists of the 2 brains, the cerebrum and the cerebellum. Okay, so we'll get back to that. But in astrology, these 2 portions were attributed to Aries, the lamb, and Taurus, the bull. Now, in order, descending from the top of the head, in order, after Taurus, you have Gemini, the 2 arms. Cancer is next, the breast. Leo is next, the heart. Then below that is Virgo, the belly. Below that is Libra, the 2 kidneys, the scales of balance, the 2 kidneys. So here you have the kidneys representing the scales of Libra. Below that, Scorpio, the generative area. Below that, Sagittarius, the hips, because hips comes from hippo, the horse, Sagittarius. Below that, you have Capricorn, the knees, the kneecaps. Below that, you have Aquarius. And then the final part of this temple are the 2 fish, Pisces. Now, Josephus, Philo, Judaeus, all of these great Jewish scholars from thousands of years ago tell you that that is how Solomon's temple was made. It was made in 12s. There were 12 loaves of bread. Rome came to literalize them, to pin them down into history, so to speak. And of course, later on, Eusebius put his touches on it. Then later on, you've got Francis Bacon with the King James Version. The Jesuits were also cooking the books on the continent. And of course, now you've got some very, very wealthy elite families that are also cooking the history books. So it's happening all the time. And it did begin with the Flavians. It absolutely did. And they put their touches. Justinian also did a lot of damage. His wife had reincarnation removed from the Bible in the year 530-something. And so they've been at it because when you doctor the books and you change their true message and you overlay it with historical facts and things to blur out the true, beautiful message that is at the bottom of it, you do that for control so that the people do not know the true riches of the wisdom that's in these scriptures. And I'm uncovering those true riches that are in the Bible. And you have to understand that the Bible is the greatest astrological treatise in the history of this planet. It is the one and only. It's astrology at its best.
I don't know if that was a hot button for anyone, but you guys know we're all about love and peace, and we all meet in the middle about theologies, whatever theology or belief system that you have, that we're all about that. But that's basically what he's saying and what's so huge about this. And I'm going to let him explain that. So Cool. Hey Santos, we're back to you. If you'd like to introduce yourself, and you have the stage.
Thanks, guys. That's very short summary there in that video. I don't know who produced that, but I'm very disappointed that they did that with the globe, because there is no globe. The Jesuits invented globalism and the New World Order with their model of a globe Earth, whereas all of our intelligent ancestors prior to the Jesuit satanic globalist, they knew the Earth was stationary and a horizontal plane. So whoever made the video, thank you for your efforts, but you've really goofed up with the globe. I call it the Santa Ball, and it's totally fake. It's a Disney production, and the Jesuits have been making global agendas, global community, global reset, global warming, global economy, global religion, global governance for 500 years with their false idol, the globe. So I really want to get that out, because that really peeves me when I see people bowing down to globalism and their false idol, the globe. We're not spinning around. We're not hurtling through space at astronomical speeds. If that were the case, every day we would have new stars in the sky. So I don't want to go down that tangent, because I've done thousands of videos proving, just as our intelligent ancestors knew, that we are living on a stationary flat Earth. And that is a fact. And syncretism proves that, because syncretism has the correct model. Without the correct model, you cannot have a correct method. Let me give you an example. Allopathy. Allopathy is a model. Method. You've got cancer, you go to the doctor, and he gives you chemotherapy. Oh, wow, great method. Destroy the body. So bad model, bad method. Another example, fossil fuels. We already have free energy. We always have had, we always will have. It's called magnetism, the longitudinal wave. So bye-bye fossil fuels. Why are we still using them? Because the method of mass producing vehicles which consume fossil fuels is totally bogus. And we still drive around in those cars. So what syncretism is giving you the correct model of the universe, provably, and then the best method to apply the correct model. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Now let me share it. So I just gave it to you.
Thank you. Here we go. So whiteboard, desktop. Okay. So let's fix that. All right, so what I'm teaching is the S.A.A.M B.E.S.T method. I would consider it wise if you remembered this acronym. S.A.A.M B.E.S.T. B.E.S.T is the method. S.A.A.M is the model. So what is the model? What's the correct model for understanding everything? Macrocosmically, microcosmically, from the atom to the solar system. The solar system is exactly the same as every atom in your body. It's all fractal. There's no difference, none whatsoever. The only difference is what creatures molecularly are constructed through the force of those atoms, which all have the same shape. So this is what S.A.A.M B.E.S.T stands for: syncretic, astrological, atomological model. This is the true model of the universe. It's syncretic. It's not divide and conquer. Everything is one field of knowledge. It has to be astrological. because there are 12 in every wave in this electrical world. There are 12 different sets of conditions along every wave, and they are astrological, and astrology is the only map that will help you understand the electromagnetic universe. Etymological. I just did this minutes before starting, so excuse me. Etymological, the atom. The model of the atom that the quantum physicists give us since Newton is entirely bogus. They are correct in stating that we have a neutron and an electron and a proton, but I'll explain what they are once we understand the true model and the true method. So that's the S.A.A.M part. It's syncretic, it's astrological and etymological. That's all you need to understand the universe. Proper understanding of the atom, thorough understanding of astrology, and to integrate all fields of knowledge, syncretism. B.E.S.T stands for Bonacci. Why Bonacci? Well, because I'm the only one that is using the sine wave to explain all things. And the ecliptic. The ecliptic is the sine wave. It's the largest sine wave that we are familiar with. The ecliptic is the path of the sun from the 21st of March, the equinox, all the way back around to that Easter period of March the 21st. And it makes a cross. It makes the cross of the solstices and the equinoxes through the universe. And so the ecliptic is always the sine wave that I put on all of my presentations, because without the ecliptic, you cannot explain anything. The sine wave is the sine wave that is the serpent in the Garden of Eden, which is the vibration. Vibration, vibra, comes from vibora, which in Latin means serpent. So it's a serpentine, heliacal sine wave. Torus field. There is the greatest of all the secrets. The atom is actually a torus field. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and have a look at this model and then explain the method. So here we have photographs of an electron and a hydrogen atom. And here we have some scriptures to the left. I'll read the first one, and you can read the others at will, at your leisure. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made of what was visible. So what we're going to understand is how atoms are little stars. Atom means Adam, Adam means star. We're all stars. Each one of you belongs to one of these stars. Youngster, sister, spinster, mister, master, mobster, monster, fraudster, gangster, pastor, minister, imposter, disaster, superstar, rock star, movie star, and yet we all have ancestors. So when someone asks you, what is your origin? Well, you just need to say that you come from the stars because you have ancestors. And these little stars, what you're looking at here, are little tiny sonoluminescent sound and light stars. Your body, your anatomy, atoms, is made from little stars, and they are called atoms. They say they are empty, yes, because they are pulses, not particles. No particles exist. Thank you, Walter Russell. Particles are pulses. And this is why quantum physicists who are Jesuits are out there to deceive humanity so that they can continue forever chasing after the wind, looking after particles. There are only pulses, and they are magnetic. Magnetic pulses generate electrical waves, transverse waves, because the pulses generate radial waves, which is called radiation. So we have two forms of energy, radiation and vibration. Radiation comes first. It's pulsating. Radiation generates as it encounters resistance through whatever medium it encounters, whether it is air, fire, water, or earth, or as quantum physicists will call it, solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Matters not which medium, the ether, as it perpetrates radial waves, it generates transverse waves, electricity. So what you're seeing here is a drop of water, and you can see those radial waves. They are forever growing. They never diminish. They can be stopped, but in the universe, there is no stopping. There's no boundaries. Here in this pool or this bathtub, there will be boundaries. But that radial wave, you can always count on it, radiation, magnetism, pulse, to be the source of the electrical force which makes everything that is material in the world. Magnetism is spiritual, electricity is physical. This is how an atom is. Below, what you see in the middle, that's called the plane of inertia. In our solar system, that is the planet of Earth. The word planet suggests that it's plane. It's the ancient French word for plane, planet. And of course, that's why we have tectonic plates and not tectonic bowls, because plates are flat. And this is why we have aeroplanes flying over the plane of the Earth, never making any adjustments for any globetrottery and curvature of the Earth. And so that plane of the inertia, thank you to Ken Wheeler, who has done a lot of work on magnetism and showing how the magnetic toroidal field works. He has explained that matter can only congregate on the plane of inertia, because that is the nature plane. Everything else is spiritual. It's transcendental. And it is the cause of that plane of inertia to exist, where we horizontally walk day and night, and where our planes horizontally fly over the flat Earth. Here is a similar, this is another solar system. That's all it is. It's not a galaxy. These are not, potentially trillions and trillions of stars. There are stars in here, but as you can see, there is a central sun, and there will be a flat Earth where the sun is going over. But you can see the jets. Those jets, they are in every torus field. That is called the hyperbola. And we're going to get to that in a moment, because the hyperbola is the most important part of the torus field. That's where everything begins, the thrust. The thrust, which scientists, Jesuit scientists call the Big Bang, which comes from nothing. Well, I'm here to correct them forever. It's a Big Bang which comes from everything, because everything is in counter space, something which humans cannot grasp. We can only understand time and space. We cannot understand counter space, the transcendence. So for instance, my phone here is full of photos and videos, but it's empty. And those photos, when I show them to my friends, let's imagine that there's a photo there. That photo is not really in my phone, and yet it comes from my phone, and I can show it to you. It's like your emotions and your thoughts. They're not contained in your body. They belong to another field in counter space. They are transcendental. No doctor can open your liver and remove all of your negative emotions. No brain surgeon can cut open your brain and delete all of your bad thoughts because they are not there, just as the photos are not here. They are contained in little crystals in counter space called zeros and ones. And that's how everything is produced. Magnetism, white light, when it decides to divide, immediately it produces red shift, blue shift, the red and blue, which are the two colors of duality and polarity in the world. Here is a typical Taurus field. You are the man standing in the hyperbola. In the middle of that apple is the hyperbola. And by the way, many languages, apple and man are the same word. In French, man is homme. In French, apple is pomme with a P. In Spanish, apple is manzana, which gives you the word human or woman or man. So the apple has a core. That core is your corazón, your heart. And that is the hyperbola of your toroidal field, which comes from your Taurus, being the same word. Your Taurus has has an aura, and that is the aura field. One of them, there are millions. They are like Russian dolls going perpetually through space. So that core, your apple, that is the hyperbola. You are standing in the middle and your heart is creating the pulse. P-U-L is the same as B-U-L, which is the same as hyperbola, the bull. So when I talk about Taurus fields, I talk about the Taurus and the bull. The Taurus is the outer feminine field, which is related to the uterus of the woman. And the hyperbola, bowl, is the arbol in Spanish, the tree of life in the center of the Garden of Eden. This is the Garden of Eden, and that's the tree of life, the hyperbola. So bowl becomes, as I said, pulse becomes phallus, P-H-U-L-L, phall. Phall is the same as bowl. And so that is the phallus penetrating the uterus. Here we have the shape of the apple. You can see here on my screen, this is how our solar system is. Anyone who tells you differently is ignorant or willfully lying. They are liars. And what you can see here is basically the atmosphere over the flat earth. Below, there are also 7 planes. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, there are also 7 more planes. Above the earth rotate the 7 planets, the 7 higher planes, 7 lower, 7 higher. And those 7 are, in this order, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And this is the big apple in which we live in. Over here, we have a tree, which is an arbol. Bol is the hyperbola. As you can see, it has the hour-shaped glass shape, and that hour shape inside the Taurus field is nothing but old man Chronos, chronology, the timekeeper. So you see the wave amplitude and the wavelength are talking about time and space. The wave amplitude is the space. The wavelength is the time. So as you can see, all these things are the same thing. Here we have a globe model, which is totally incorrect. And below we have the true model. They will never want you to know this. The Jesuits who have been doing the New World Order globe psyop for 500 years now, they don't want you to know that, because beyond this apple there are portals for us to go to other apples and other solar systems where we can meet and learn from wiser and much more advanced human beings, because since 500 years, we have been dumbed down. We have false idols. We bow down to them. We defend them. We don't even know how our models work. Most people who believe we live on a globe have got no idea about how that works, and yet they believe it. Difference between syncretism and what universities are teaching is here you get direct knowledge, over there you get secondhand knowledge, which is useless. Here we have the form of the body is in the shape of a T. This is the tomb of the anatomy which you have been baptized in. We have all been baptized in death, which means the symbol of earth. Then we get a baptism of water when we go to church to cleanse our sinful bodies. Then we get a baptism of spirit, which is air. And then the final baptism is fire when we become a mystic. Here shows the beautiful geometric patterns of Saturn and Jupiter and their conjunctions through the sign over the millennium. And this is how ordered and structured this beautiful atomic universe we live in is. This is just to give you one example of how all the planets, they are electromagnetic. They're not balls, rocks that astronauts can go and land on. You can't go to Mars. Sorry. If you think one day that we're going to Mars, you can, but not in these bodies. In your spiritual body, you can go wherever you want. They will accept you there. They will, if you have the right frequency, you can go to the moon. You can live on the sun. You can live in Jupiter. You can live in Vrindavan or Vaikuntha or Brahmajyoti, any of those places. So this is what's going on. Red shift, blue shift. It's a red shift, blue shift world. We have, to the right, we have force and motion, magnetism, discharge. This is white light creating a radial wave. Electricity, as you can see, is a transverse wave. Electricity is perpendicular to the longitudinal wave. Magnetism is 100 billion times more powerful than electricity. I will repeat that. Magnetism is 100 billion times more powerful than electricity. Thank you, Maxwell, Steinmetz, Faraday, Leeds Scanlon, and all the other great geniuses. To the left, we have black light. So we have the white yin and yang here. And this is inertia and acceleration. Gravitation, radiation. Radiation is magnetism. Gravitation is dielectricity. Dielectricity, magnetism, and electricity. This is the Holy Trinity that makes the cross. Dielectricity is black light, inertia, rest. Magnetism is white light, force and motion. Force is motion. So you have on the left rest, black light. Everything comes from black ether. White light is what produces the electronic transverse wave. And electricity has two colors predominantly, red and blue. This is why you have red shift, red pill, blue pill, red blood, blue blood, roses are red, violets are blue, Republicans are red, Democrats are blue, red and blue fire engine sirens, red and blue ambulance sirens, red and blue police sirens, red tap for hot, blue tap for cold, red goes to little baby girls, blue goes to little baby boys, and the list goes on and on and on, because the electrical world is what comes from the hyperbola, which is Baal, which is Baal, the false god which everyone bows down to, which is the electrical world, which is temporal and finite. So it's not an illusion necessarily, but it's a temporary illusion.
Can I
Or-
Santos, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, and I don't know if you mentioned this before, but you talked about electricity and magnetism, but I like also how you explained how that's feminine and masculine, and how God is feminine and masculine energy, and that's the creation. Is that something you talked about? Or?
Exactly, good point. What you're looking at here is the Godhead. It's a Trinity. But at the top is a monad, and under the monad is the dyad. That's the God, Satan, and Jesus. The monad is Christ, Krishna. Krishna expands and becomes Mahavishnu, Vishnu. Mahavishnu expands and creates Vishnus. And then Vishnus expand and create Brahmas. And we exist inside the body of Brahma. It's a solar system. Brahma is the solar system, period. So to answer your question, Rodney, the Godhead, the monad, is black and white light, Krishna and Radharani. Radharani means to radiate. Krishna means black and means inertia and rest. Rest comes from crest, which comes from Christ. Christ is Krishna. Christ is black light. Christ is resting. This is why when we do our Christian work and ascend, we become Christians with Christ in his rest. Crest means to rest. So we're going back to the dielectric world, to the transcendence. Just like when I turn my phone off, the photograph, when I turn my phone off, that photograph of my girlfriend, that suddenly disappears, goes blank, and waits for the next day for me to turn my phone on to retrieve that photo. It doesn't disappear, it doesn't die. It goes back to counter space. You can't see it because you can't see ones and zeros. You can't see numbers. So what's happening is we have a numbers and letters universe. Numbers are quantities, letters are qualities. The Pythagoreans stated that all is number. The Jews, the mystic Jews, say all is made from God's alphabet, and both are correct. One are quantities, which you cannot see. Letters are qualities, which you can see and feel. So, for instance, the sounds that those pulses generate, they will be any one of the ones that you know, A, B, C, D, E. Electricity has many, many different forms. And so essentially, those letters will be creating combinations of them, will be creating all the different forms that exist on the universe. But they will all have atoms, and they will all be made of waves. Here is how an astrological chart is formed. This is called the line of the earth. This line from the ascendant to the descendant never moves, and shows how the sun circulates over the flat earth every day clockwise. Here is sunrise, here is midday, here is sunset, and here is midnight. And you can see that these letters form the word Adam. A, D, I, M, which in Hebrew means Adam. Ma-adim, or rather it means Mars, which Mars is Ma-adim, Adam, and Eve is Venus. Just put an E in front of the word Venus and you will see exactly who our mother who art in heaven is. It is. So when you see someone's chart, in this case, this is my chart, you will see here Zosimos, who mentioned that Adam is nothing but, let's get this out of the way. He says the letter A signifies the ascendant, the letter D, the descendant in the west, and the letter M signifies the meridian to the south. So what you have here, this proves that we are all children of Adam, because we are all, how do I get this out of the way? There you go. So we are all children of this electromagnetic wheel, which is astrological. And only astrology can explain electromagnetism, because every wave starting in Aries and ending in Pisces has 12 conditions along it. 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water, and 3 modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So that's how all waves are generated, with those 12 conditions. Here we have the tarot card depicting the same thing. We have the equinox here, we have the solstice here, Tropic of Cancer above, Tropic of Capricorn below, and here we have the cross quarter days. Here is 1st of May, here is 1st of August, 1st of November, and 1st of February. Here is the apple. This is the Stan Tenen model. I would suggest you look at his presentation called Dance of the Hebrew Alphabet, great Hebrew scholar. And this is the model he uses. And there he describes the flat plane net in which we live, intersecting both hemispheres. And above the apple, this will be the dome, the blue sky, which is the electromagnetic field above us. All of this corresponds with our hand. The hand is this shape here inside the apple. You put your thumb in here like a bowling ball, and you have 4 fingers around here, and you can do that 3 times around the apple, which makes 12. Everything is 12. Here is the hyperbola inside the apple, the tree, the arbol, but it's always an apple. Here is how our DNA is formed as well. The DNA is just this hyperbola. It's basically just strings of atoms. Here is how the ancients depicted Shiva with his torus field surrounding him. And Shiva is nothing but the 4 elements which emanate from the hyperbola. And this is the plane of inertia. This is Walter Russell's way of depicting it. There's the 2 vortices. Above is blue shift, below is red shift. This is the proton. The proton is nothing other than red shift, and the electron is nothing other than blue shift. So you'll never learn that at school, and you can pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn nothing at school. Here is the hyperbola in the middle, and there's the sine wave. And as long as you teach according to the sine wave, which is the ecliptic path of the sun, then you will understand all things. There's only one way to understand everything, and that is the S.A.A.M B.E.S.T method. In every medium, you always have these hyperbola. In the earth medium, they are volcanoes. In the air medium, they are tornadoes. In the fire medium, they are twisters. In the water medium, they are called whirlpools. Pool is another way of saying bowl, the hyperbola. Tree is also a tori, a torus field. And the trunk is the torunk, and the roots are backwards for tor. Everything is tor. And root also is red. Rot in German is red. So again, red is always down below. You'll notice in your torso that the bottom chakra is red and the top chakra of your torso, torus field, is blue, because everything is like this. There is Ken Wheeler's depiction of how the hyperbola works inside of donuts, nested inside of donuts. Here is how the Egyptians depicted it. An hourglass, this is the hyperbola, and the wings are the wings of the torus field. Same here, that's the bowl. That's the ball in the center. The only spheres that exist are candescent spheres inside of atoms. We don't live on them, we live in a ball. And this is exactly, again, the man. See how it's nested in torus fields? This goes on forever. And here is the true ancient depiction of the flat earth, which actually they have coming from your solar plexus, but in reality, it comes from the heart. The heart is where the earth is extending horizontally. Heart is an anagram for the word earth, and they are both anagrams for theatre, because this is where Shakespeare's theatre is happening, on the earth theatre. So these will help you understand. This is why the bull is so important. Aaron destroyed the bull. Well, the bull is nothing but a symbol of the hyperbola, the bowl inside of every magnet or atomic field. Here is the Aztec sun, and there is the center, the bowl, the sun. This god is called Tonatiuh, Ton. All is a ton. And as you can see, it has 8 spokes. This is the solstice, this is the equinox, and the dynamic cross is the cross quarter days. Again, in the center, you will see the same thing. Equinox, horizontal, solstices, vertical, and then the cross quarter days for the fixed signs. And you'll see the 4 animals of those signs, which when we go back to the, here we will see they are nothing but Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. So here we have another depiction of how the torus field propagates along the phi ratio. This is the Baal, hyperbola, bowl. Bowl means to thrust, by the way, in Greek. Hyper means overthrust. So this is the hyperboloid, and this is the hypertrochoid. This is the nature, the shape of all nature, sonoluminescence. Here is the flat earth. Thank you, Stan Tenen, great Hebrew scholars. All the esoteric Hebrews laugh at the modern day people who think they're living upside down, spinning on a ball. Here are the, these are from Polynesian lands. It's the same thing, depicting the duality in the eyes and depicting the white and black dielectricity and magnetism. All symbols go back to one thing, electromagnetism. All gods are electromagnetic. This is a viewing film of a magnet. There's a magnet right underneath this viewing field. And here you can see the hyperbola because he's got the magnet on the side. Otherwise, you would only see one hole in the middle. And here is the plane of inertia. This is where all matter congregates in the plane of inertia. And you can see how animals have a plane of inertia going straight through their bodies. This is Krishna or Jagannath. There is Baal or Bel, the false god. Why is he so hated? Why is he such a demon, a demiurge, an archon, a cosmocrator, a potter of Memphis, and has evil associated with him? Well, because the hyperbola can only do two things: red shift, blue shift, good and evil, hot and cold, boy and girl, gravitation, radiation, fusion, fission, divergence, convergence, centrifugal, centripetal. That's all that goes on in the world. And the bell, there's always a bell associated with churches, towers and bells. Well, that's Tauruses and bulls. Here is another expression of the Taurus field. You see the man is always the phallic standing inside the uterus, the Taurus. Here is Frank Chester. He has discovered a sixth polyhedra. I would study the work of Frank Chester, please. Very, very significant in understanding how the universe works. Here again, we see more depictions. This is actually a photo as well of one of the shapes that Ken Wheeler produced. Here's another one, just by using magnets. And so you wonder who Krishna is? It's a magnet. It's magnetism. It's dielectricity. There is the hourglass. You can see a serpent around it, eating its tail. Well, that's the sine wave that goes round and round the torus field, which continuously, perpetually eats its tail. Here is the heart, which is coil, which is a bowl, which is a hyperbola, pulsating. Remember, pulse comes from bowl. And pulse is also the same as plasma and also the same as polarity. So the hyperbola creates polarity. Here is laminins. Your body is made of laminins. This is a microscopic picture of the cross-shaped torus fields which are the glue of your body. Laminin. Lam means light. Lamb of God. Laminin. Here are the fields that are surrounding you. I won't go into these through lack of time. Here are what looks like if you took pictures of dendrites in your brain. Dendrite comes from the root dendros, which means tree. And this is a forest, but it looks exactly the same as the trees or the dendrites in your brain. Everything is trees, Taurus trees. Here we have the structure of God. The monad is at the top, the dyad, the triad, and the tetrad, the tetragrammaton. Here are the letters of creation and how these always are the generating letters. There are only 7 letters that have percussive or generative power. They are B, P, T, D, and G, and K. And they become liquids with these letters as well. These are the liquid letters. But when you study this very, very carefully, I won't have time to spend here, but you can see how all these are the God letters. They all produce names of gods. And then these produce all the liquid electrical effects in the universe.
Can I ask a really quick question? So with the letters, you said, I think you believe, like you mentioned before, that ancient scripture had codes with the letters, but the newer scriptures won't because the code won't be there or something because of the way they've been rewritten.
Yeah, look, that's possible. Words have been attacked as well. They've been changed, but as much as they've mutilated languages and tried to hide the fact that we have one language, it's called etymology, through which we get the word etymology, which means nothing but the study of atoms. So when you want to understand a word, you study etymology or etymology, same word. So here we have an example of how important bull is. Herbal, tribal, global, verbal, cannibal, gimbal, symbol, blaze, oval, naval, festival, carnival, revival, removal, medieval, drivel, valuable, apple, able, capable, stable, tumble, humble, liable, noble, cable, table, Bible, rumble, mumble, jumble, possible, viable. Why are so many of our words ending in bull and tor? We'll get to tor in a minute. Rebel, libel, babble, ruble, remarkable, mutable, symbol, simple. There's another derivation. Many words end in this. Blood, because blood comes from the bull, the hyperbola. To build, because the hyperbola is the builder. It's the free constructs the universe. This is the bull here. Notice the word bowl, because it's hyperbolic. When you speak in hyperbole, you are speaking bull, because you are exaggerating. What a lot of bull, right? Baloney. He's speaking baloney, because basically babble, bull, it's all just coming from the hyperbola, which is the word of God. And in Spanish, palabra is nothing but bull. Palabra, the word of God. And here we have a good percentage of our words ending in tor, from the torus field. Talk, torsion fields, story, orator, actor, creator, author, tutor, motor, rotor, astor, the stars. Asters are nothing but torus fields. Star and torus field is the same word. They create storms. They create history, especially the hourglass Saturn sitting right in the middle of every torus field, indicating time. Plethora, theory, thorough, agitator, ancestor, attorney, store, mentor, contractor, creditor, try, there's another tor word, curator, doctor, grantor, inventor, janitor, restore, order. D is interchangeable with T. Older, elder, alter, alter, torture, victor, capacitor, culture, history, victory, factory, oratory. Yes, because all words come from bull and tor. Atoms produce sound, and they are percussive sound, a tum. That's why a drummer plays tom-toms. In China, they play a tam-tam. In Africa, they play a dun-dun. It's the same. D is interchangeable with T, and N is interchangeable with M. Timbali, cymbal, tambourine, timpani, trombone, drum. That's just another word for atom or Adam. Because why? Dumbek. Here we go. In Lebanon, they play a dumbek. Why is everything tom and dumb when it comes to percussion? Because percussion is electrical. It's arcing, it is sparking. It is a bolt. Bolt comes from volt, and both comes from the hyperbola, voltage, volume, volution, to will things. It has volution to create the universe. It is a bolt. It is Jupiter. And what does Jupiter Zeus always carry? A bolt of thunder. Here you see the thorax with 12 ribs, of course, because everything is 12 and every torus field is a 12ness. That's why the thorax and the thoracic with its 12 along the spinal column is nothing but a torus field. Here we have corporations taking advantage. They always have atomic or bull or tor words in their logos. Atom, atama means the head in Spanish, in Japanese. Here we come to the red ship, blue ship world. Anode red on a battery, cathode blue on a battery. Why those colors? Why not purple and yellow? They're pretty. They're very nice colors. I like them. Anode is the sun, cathode is the moon. Catherine is the moon. Anything with Arini, Helene, Selene, Radharani, Kundalini, Nana, Leone, all these are moon words. Cathode, Catherine. You got a red moon, a blood moon, and you always have the odd blue moon. Solenoids and capacitors. It's all about coils and electromagnetic waves. There's the dielectric, the plane of inertia. Cathedrals and synagogues are nothing but cathodes and anodes, stealing your energy. Here is the rainbow, red on one end, blue on the other end. Here is your torso, red at the bottom, blue at the top. Red is the devil because red is the color of hell, blue is heavens, and the process of ascension is to embrace those frequencies. Here you always have blue Shiva, red Satan. The gods are always red and blue. Here you have Superman, red and blue. There's the red pill and the blue pill. There's red and blue for boy and girl. Here you have the Korean flag, earth, fire, air, and water, showing you clearly that this is the electrical world of earth, made of those four elements. Pepsi means Saturn in Egyptian. This is in the middle, the white, that is the hyperbola, which is the plane of inertia, which is just showing you, they're giving you right under your nose how creation works. Here you have everything's red and blue. The blue light on the police siren is we're here to help you, we're your friends. Red is watch out, we're going to get you. Red blood, red arteries, blue veins. Red tap, blue tap. Red light district, blue light district for kids. Republicans are red, Democrats are blue. What a way to divide a country. Red and blue. That's a funny one. Roses are red, violets are blue. There's the creation. Everything to the red to the left is depicting material. Everything to the right is depicting the spiritual. Here is the white light, magnetism, longitudinal wave, creating transverse waves of color, and they are always 7 electricities. Thank you, Sri Yukteswar, for your knowledge on the 7 electricities and the fact that he called magnetism divine magnetism. Here we have the baddies using the red savers. Here we have the good guys with the blue savers. Here we have the pH. On the red, you've got Saturn, who rules acid in astrology. And over to the right, we have alkaline blue. And that's the sun. Alkalin is an Arabic word which means our Father, the sun in the sky. And in the middle is neutral green. Again, the red shift, blue shift world and how it works. Red versus blue. Red Kachina, blue Kachina. The Hopi Indians are always talking about blue Kachina coming back. Red and blue. Always. Never will you see anything different than this to depict the duality. Even in the Bible, Adam is red, Eve means blue. Cain means red, Abel means blue. A bull means hyperbola, the bull, blue. Esau, red. Jacob, blue. So it's in the Bible. Yanis and Yambres is yin yang, red and blue. They are the two serpents, or the two false prophets that tried to deceive Pharaoh in the days of Moses. All right. And look at this. Isn't that interesting how they have in California, just where I was staying, just north of, just near Philo there, a vineyard called Philo. And look at the symbol, the Lamb of God, Aries, the Baal. They all know it's all Baal. It's all about the hyperbola. The world cannot be created without the hyperbola. Here are the Egyptians teaching us to give due respect to the sun, who is Baal, who is Cristobal. Interesting how the Spanish use the word Cristobal, and yet in the scripture it says, what do Christ and Baal have in common? Well, they're both parts of the Taurus field. There's the hyperbola emanating thrusts of electromagnetic rays which nourish us. And that's about it. There's the earth, and they are the 7 spheres above the earth, and they are always depicted. And there is the very, 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 very level horizon. That's why we call it a horizon, because it's horizontal. Even if you look at an island from Vanuatu to Mauritius is 150 miles, and Mauritius is 120 miles long. You should see the island from 150 miles away, which they can. You should see it curve around the globe, and yet it is as flat as a pancake. Here is an ancient depiction which has just been released to the world of the flat earth and the dome above it. And there it is again. Clearly, we are living on a stationary earth. The earth hasn't moved 1 millimeter since the beginning of its foundations. Hence, that's why the Bible says that I have made the earth firm and immovable till times immemorial. So that's about it for my presentation, guys. I suppose I can do some quick questions, answer some questions.
Thank you, Santos. So does anyone have any questions? Anyone at all?
I feel like I have to do more research on stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
wanna
want to
know,
learn
like,
more things.
Are like people in on it that are like airline pilots? Airline pilots, people in the military, like all these people, they must know, right? Because they're flying.
Santos.
Yeah. If you check out the documentary called Level, which I'm in, released yesterday, just go and look for Level in YouTube, and you'll see me in there. You will also see Eric Dubay speaking and showing all the government manuals for flying and for navigating over the earth. They are all based on 2 things: a flat, stationary earth. Never has it been different, never will it be. Even though they teach this in school, they can't train pilots over a spinning earth. They know that if they're landing on a north-south runway, the earth's going 1,000 miles that way, and the plane's only flying 500 miles an hour, its runway is going to be shooting out from under their feet. They know it's totally impossible. That's why you'll see plenty of evidence in that beautiful video that has just come out. And let's hope it saves a lot of people from utter stupidity and from the false New World Order model of the globe.
So anyway, so anyone believes whatever, and that's really what I really love is just a tremendous amount of your work regarding like just the ancient scriptures, and just everything is incredible. So everyone is welcome to their own.
What was the name of that place that I could go to on the Level? Is it
Called
Level?
Level. Yeah, it's a documentary.
It's just called Level.
Yeah, where can you find it?
On YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube, okay.
We should have a
Thank
name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other
Any other
questions?
questions?
Y'all good?
I feel like I have to do more research on everything now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Santos.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Much love. All the best. Thank you.